Well, hello, thank you for joining me today again on the Church History Trail. You're very welcome to the programme, and we're continuing here at the village of BROOKEBOROUGH. And so I want to tell you a wee bit about the Brooke family and their history. Now, I did try to video at the mansion, but unfortunately I wasn't allowed. They said they were very busy to come back in July. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk a wee bit here about the Brooke family in BROOKEBOROUGh, because it's named after the Brooke family. So Sir Henry Brooke was granted the land in 1666, from whom the village gets its name. BROOKEBOROUGh, or originally it was Eglon, and it had been in the possession of the Maguire clan until the 1641 rebellion, and so it was given to the Brooke family. And as I say, I was at the mansion, which is Coldbrook House, and it was built in 1820 and is situated in an estate of 1,000 acres, and the house is absolutely beautiful, I have to say. And Viscount BROOKEBOROUGh and his wife, Viscountess BROOKEBOROUGh, live in the house today. Now, getting back to Sir Henry Brooke, he was born in BROOKEBOROUGh in 1618, and he was a tenacious fighter, and he managed to defend Donegal town, castle and the district against rebel insurgents during the 1641 rebellion. And I've actually done a few videos on Donegal Castle and the Brooke connection. Now, Henry's father, Captain Sir Basil Brooke, had come to Ireland in 1598 to Donegal, and Henry fought on the Cromwellian side during the English Civil War as a captain of foot. Sir Henry died in 1671 and is buried in Donegal Abbey. Now, Major Thomas Brooke, MP, was Henry's son, was called Thomas, and Thomas was an officer in the army of King Charles II and also King James II. And because he was a Protestant, he was dismissed from the service by the first Earl Tyrconnell, who was Richard Talbot. And I've actually done a video of his castle, so I have Malahide Castle. Now, at the outbreak of the Glorious Revolution in 1688, he became a major in the Williamite army, and Thomas died in 1696, and he's buried in Dublin. Now, Henry Brooke MP, who was born about 1688, died in 1761. He was a minor when he inherited the Fermanagh estate. He became a lieutenant colonel of militia and sheriff of Fermanagh in 1709, and he was also an MP for Fermanagh from 1727 to 1761. Now, Queen Anne granted him the authority to convert the Fermanagh estate into a manor, and the manor was called the Manor House of BROOKEBOROUGh. This long, low house was on the same site as the present house, the present mansion. Now, Henry died in 1761, as the Coldbrook Church, of course, wasn't built until 1767. Henry was buried in Dublin. Now, Sir Arthur Brooke, who was an MP, and he was born about 1715, died 1785. He was a baronet, he was a gambler, but he was also a spendthrift, so he wasted a lot of money. And then there was Major Francis Brooke, who was born about 1720. He inherited Coldbrook from his brother in 1785. He had become a major of a cavalry regiment, and that regiment was called Droghed's Horse. Now, prior to the 1798 rebellion, Major Francis Brooke wrote to the authorities saying, "The Coldbrook Cavalry, under my son and in my absence, took 7 United Irishmen on Slabback Mountain. They have been examined for taking and administering unlawful oaths, and they are now firmly placed in the Enniskillen jail." Now, one of the prisoners was Terence Keenan, who had a paper in his hand when taken in his own house, and that paper was the resolutions of the United Irishman. So I suppose that's what you would call being caught red-handed. So you can see a building there, which I'm going to mention shortly, and there's a monument there as well, monuments to the Boer War, and there's also a wee plaque on that building that I'm going to show you as well. Now, one of the Major's sons, Lieutenant Colonel Francis Brooke, fought in the Peninsular War and actually commanded a brigade at Waterloo during the Napoleonic Wars, and he was awarded the Peninsula Gold Cross, which is a very rare honour. So this monument to the Boer War and also World War II, as you can see, 1939 to 1945. This monument has been erected by public subscription in memory of the soldiers from BROOKEBOROUGH and the vicinity who lost their lives in the South African War. And I think that's 1800 to 1902. 1890, sorry, I think it is, to 1902. Sergeant William Brown, Royal Enniskillen Fusiliers, William Palmer, Private, Prince Alfred's, sure what that says, Robert Noble, Royal Army Medical Corps. So there you are. You can see the 1901. And you can also see the Enniskillen Castle. That's the badge of the Enniskilleners. And you can see the claw there of the lion. Now, Sir Henry Brooke, 1770 to 1834. He was the present Colebrook House was actually built during Sir Henry's time, between 1820 and 1823, incorporating the original house. And also during Sir Henry's time, the only diamond ever to be found in Ireland was found in the Colebrook River. Now you can see a blue plaque there. And this one is to Alan Francis Brooke, Viscount Alan Brooke of BROOKEBOROUGH, 1883 to 1963. Field Marshal, Chief of the Imperial General Staff, 1941 to 1946. So he obviously lived in this house, and I will be mentioning him. So he obviously lived in this house. Now, Sir Arthur Brainsley Brooke II, Baronet, was an MP. He was born in 1797, he died in 1854. And he was known as Sir Arthur the Good because of his famine relief work among the destitute and the distressed. And his wife has actually a connection here with this building. And this building used to be the old school. So it did. And her name was Henrietta Anson. And she was Queen Victoria's maid of honour. And she married Sir Arthur Brainsley Brooke. Now, Henrietta was known for her evangelical and charitable work, and when she died in 1886, the Lady Brooke Memorial Hall was built in her honour, and this is it. So they must have had a great respect for her, and it was built, as I say, on the site of the old schoolhouse, and was completed in 1891. So I'm going to take you over and give you a wee look at this. This is going to be a rather lengthy video, but give you a wee look at this, and then I'll give you a bit more information, and then we'll wrap it up. So you can see there, just zoom up, let you see that. It says the Memorial Hall, erected in loving memory of the Honourable Lady Brooke, and it's 1891, as you can see. So as I say, she married Sir Arthur Brinsley Brooke, and he was born in 1797. He died in 1854, and as I say, he was known as Sir Arthur the Good because of his famine relief work that he did among the destitute and the distressed. Now, Sir Victor Brooke, who was the third baronet, was born in 1843, died in 1891, and he was named after his godmother, Queen Victoria. Quite amazingly. And then Sir Arthur Douglas Brooke, who was the fourth baronet, 1865 to 1907. He was a strong supporter of the Church of Ireland. He was also active in the temperance movement and was a leading figure in the Orange Order. And then Field Marshal Alan Francis Brooke was the first Viscount Alan Brooke. He was born 23rd of July 1883 in France, and he died 17th of June 1863, aged 79, in England. He was a senior officer in the British Army. He was Chief of the Imperial General Staff during the Second World War and was promoted to Field Marshal on the 1st of January 1944, and that was his house that I just showed you that he lived in. He was a foremost military advisor to Prime Minister Sir Winston Churchill, and he was a relation of the fighting Brookes of Colebrook. His father was Sir Victor Brooke, who I just mentioned. Now, Sir Basil Stanley Brooke, the fifth baronet, the first Viscount, was born 1888, died 1973. And so Basil was appointed the third Prime Minister of Northern Ireland in 1943, an office that he was to hold for the next 20 years, believe it or believe it not. And he became first Viscount Brookeborough in 1952. He was a member also of the Ulster Unionist Party. He was a nephew of Field Marshal Alan Francis Brooke, who I just mentioned. Sir Basil was awarded the Military Cross and a French Military Cross for his service during World War I. And Brooke was also an ally of Sir Edward Carson, and he founded his own paramilitary group, Brooke's Fermanagh Vigilance, believe it or believe it not. Now, he died at home on the Colebrook Park estate in 1973, and he was cremated at Roselawn Cemetery, Belfast, and his ashes then were scattered on the Colebrook estate according to his own wishes. Excuse me. Now, Captain John Warden Brooke, second Viscount Brookeborough, and a son of Sir Basil, served in the British Army in North Africa, Italy and Germany during World War II. And he was also a politician and a member of the UUP, like his dad. He was born the 9th of November 1922, and he died on the 5th of March 1987. Now, Alan Henry Brooke, third Viscount Brookeborough, he was born on the 30th of June 1952, and he's a whole list of honours, including Lord Lieutenant of Fermanagh. I was talking to him earlier. It was that gentleman who I asked if I could film on the property, but unfortunately they're very busy at the moment, so it wasn't possible. So he's a whole list of honours which I'm not going to go through, but that includes Lord Lieutenant of Fermanagh. He joined the British Army in 1971 and transferred to the UDR in 1977, which became the Royal Irish Regiment in 1992, and he was promoted to Lieutenant Colonel in 1993. But he has one honour that none of his family predecessors have, and that is his service under King Charles III, because he is still serving in that capacity. So Alan Brooke, or Lord Brookeborough, married Janet Elizabeth Cook, now Viscountess Brookeborough, in 1980, and I was talking to her ladyship today. And then they also live at the BROOKEBOROUGH estate, so they're actually living there to this Friday. So a lot of history in this wee village with the Brookes, and hopefully at some stage I'll be able to get in to the manor house, or at least video outside the manor house. There you can see a wee bit of the history of the village as well. Back in the day when this trough was used for the horses and the carriages and the water pump. And then across the street you have the entrance to the old castle. So thanks for watching, and God bless.